So we'll call the meeting to order, Ward 8 NPA. Thanks all of you who are here for coming. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Um, and we have some people online. We have a presentation this evening from the Community Coalition, Gail Champenoise and Cam. And we'll get around to introductions. Maybe we should do that first. So Charlie, we're rolling, right? How many people are online, by the way? Do we have one person? Mary. Okay, great. Okay, I'll start. And if you would say your name and your pronoun if you care to. I'm Tom Carroll. I'm on the steering committee for this NPA, and I really use any pronoun.
What street are you on?
South Union.
South.
You want to go for it? Oh, okay. Sorry.
If you want to come up to Mike.
Yeah.
So real quick. Hi, I'm Ambrose. I use him pronouns. I'm currently on South Prospect Street, but over the summer I'll be on College Street.
Hi, I'm Amy Malinowski. I live on South Williams. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm also on the steering committee.
Hi, my name is Cameron Lachek. I use he, him pronouns. I'm on the Student Government Association at UVM, and I'm the chair of the Committee on Legislative and Community Affairs. I'm on 36 Lafayette Place.
I am Gail Shamnoy from the University of Vermont Office of Student and Community Relations, and I use she, her pronouns, and I live in the New North End on Curtis Avenue.
And Brenya, I live on Bradley Street.
Hi, Stephen Chiza, he, him. I live on South William Street.
There, I'm Barbara. I am the city's NPA coordinator. I use she, her, and I'm neighbors with you, Cam. I'm also on Lafayette Place.
Charlie, do you introduce yourself or?
Not usually.
Not?
Charlie G, CCTV, Rose Street, Burlington.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mary, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Mary Cox, and I also live on South William Street.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming. Okay, so a couple of things. I think we can move into the Speak Out community forum side of things, or do you want to?
So we have sort of like two sections here. One is just like general announcements, and then public forum like Speak Out. Obviously, there's not tons of us, so we might move through those more quickly than not. But I guess the first part would just be like if you have general announcements. But before we go into that, again, I know there's a small number of us, so we're probably good. But on the back of your sheet, just a reminder that we're here to be practicing democracy with each other. We're trying to really nourish diversity and difference and learn from each other, grow each other. So the ways that we'll do that is we're going to collectively like honor the agenda, focus, and time containers. And if we need to, Tom as our facilitator will help redirect activity. And then we're also collectively responsible for being curious with each other and listening and being honest and direct while holding compassion. We'll prioritize the voices of those living in our ward, as well as those who haven't spoken yet, and allow each other to speak in rough draft. But if something comes up, you can just say, oops, or ouch, and we'll deal with that. So yeah, we can move into announcements. I have a number of announcements, but I can also have other people go first if there's anything on people's minds. I can kick us off, and then if more things come up. Okay, so I was taking a look at the calendar of what is happening in Burlington over the next month. So we have the Vermont International Film Festival is holding a Made Here Film Festival, which I believe is focusing on films that are like made in New England and Quebec areas. And that is April 23rd to the 26th. So that's happening now. There is a Queen City Contra Dance that's actually happening in Burlington tomorrow night, Friday night. The Peace and Justice Center is doing a workshop on libraries with Jasmine West about the history and future of a rad idea of libraries. So that's happening on April 25th. There's a silent book club if you're interested in reading more this spring, where you can just show up and read, and that's happening on April 27th at Bar Renee, which I haven't ever been to, but I think is also in Burlington. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Oh, Friday. Oh, good. You can check it out. And then you can go, a silent book club, I think you just show up and you read silently, and then you can chat with people after if you'd like. Their local motion is holding an easy breezy and free bike and gear repair day. So it's an easy breezy ride. And then if you need to like have your bike or your gear repaired, then they'll do that, I think, after or before. I don't know. You can learn more about that through local motion. That's on April 28th. And then the Peace and Justice Center has been doing a BTV cleanup crew on the regular. So you can just show up and you can help clean up Church Street. They meet at the top of Church Street. The next one's happening on April 30th at 7:30 in the morning. That's like how you want to start your day. And then I think there's a flyer, but everybody's talking about this, the Plan BTV Community Open House. Yeah. So I don't know if what's happening in your social bubbles, but I feel like everybody in my social bubble is saying, this is so important, you gotta come. I don't know if you have more information you want to share about that, but I think you don't have to stay the whole time. You can show up and just share, like, I would like more bike infrastructure or whatever it is that you.
So you can really drop in at any time. It's like 3:30 to 8, and you can just come in, share what's important to you, and then
Yeah.
mistakes.
So that's what that is. That's on April 30th. And then at Rock Point Commons, you can sign up to do a 5-part naturalist class. That's starting in May and it goes to January. May Day is on May 1st. There's a march and rally in Wilson. You can learn more about that from Migrant Justice and all of the people who are signing on with that. And then Green Up Day is on May 2nd. There's, I think, a Green Up Day activity over at Barge Canal, a bunch of other places. The next Mothership Monthly Film Festival screening is on May 2nd as well at the Sparrow House Collective. That's something you want to check out. The first Burlington Farmers Market of the season is on May 9th, 9 a.m. The first outdoor one, yes. And also at Rock Point Commons, if you have not gotten a chance to go out and see your spring ephemerals, there's a Wild Flowers and Wild Views hike that you can do on May 9th at noon. The Makery, which is I guess it's not that new now, but it's a secondhand craft shop that's over on Pine, which is really cool. They're doing a woven mending class. You can learn how to mend the clothes, but with like this cool woven style. That's on May 18th. Bike Ferry opening day is May 22nd. For learn more about that locomotion. And then lastly, just a reminder that the City Marathon is on May 24th. So that's a whole slew of announcement things happening in Burlington. If anything else comes to mind that folks want to share, either something you're involved in or you think is relevant for. Yeah.
The Spring Move Out project this year is on 2 dates, May 14th and May 21st. And that's when students can drop off trash for a subsidized fee on site, and also anything in good shape anyone can take for free. And it's from 11 to 2 p.m. Buell Street, yes, is on the 21st, thanks. And Loomis is on the 14th. And I think the Intervale has a big event on Sunday. Set. He's as I was leaving, my partner Tom told me, we're doing something on Sunday.
This Sunday. Okay. Any other announcements?
Any other?
Okay, so we can move into public forum. If there's anything anyone wants to share about either anything relevant to Ward 8 communities, so we could raise concerns, you could sing out appreciations, whatever you'd like to share. Oh, Mary, go for it.
Thank you. So I'm here. Am I too loud, by the way?
No, you're good.
Okay, I'm getting a little bit of an echo, but I think I'll be okay. So I'm a member of the Police Commission, And so I live in Ward 8 though. And so last September, the Police Commission had a little retreat where we set some of our priorities. And one of the priorities was to facilitate greater interaction with the community, and going to NPA meetings and interacting with people in the NPA meetings was definitely like high on that list. And so it's been on the back burner a little bit as just events have unfolded this year. But Amy sent a note around to our little group in our condominium complex, and I said, "Oh yeah, well, this is a good time to start." So I just wanted to come and introduce myself. I feel very connected to the UVM community. I actually come from California originally and lived in California and Hawaii. But after the death of my brother by suicide, I was so shook up that I could no longer continue practicing law. I needed to have a change in my life. So I moved here to Vermont, went back to school here at UVM, got a new degree, undergraduate degree in math, and then a master's in math. And then I taught math at UVM for about 8 years, which math seemed like a much softer, quieter, more enjoyable life than practicing law. So that was sort of my thought, and what I needed time to heal. But I got interested in policing because there's a lot of mental health issues in our family, and substance abuse, including alcohol abuse. And so I was on the board of NAMI Vermont, and we had a little subcommittee that had to do with mental health and policing and how that interaction unfolds. And so through that, I ended up going to the Burlington Police Department's what they call the Community Academy, which is usually held at the beginning of the year in the evenings. And I learned a lot about how the police do things. And then I've just tried to stay pretty involved with understanding and working with the police and trying to collaborate with the police to improve like their responses to people that are in mental health crisis. And unfortunately, it does happen to students because students are of that age where if they're going to have a mental health condition, a lot of times they'll have like a first episode, or they'll start seeing symptoms in their college years. And so it's super important to me to make sure that there's enough support in the community and that the police interact in a useful, compassionate way with people who are experiencing a mental health crisis. So that was my whole interest, and I've been a member of the commission now for since 2023. So my term is up this June, but I hope to reapply so that I can carry on doing this work. I'm really enjoying it. And I like building those collaborations between the community and the police department to try to improve things. So I know that just in the past, since Chief Burke arrived, there's been some pretty significant strides in terms of how they think about doing things. And even with Chief Murad, like the starting of they have that CAIP response team. They have like all different kinds of programs that they're doing now. They have the situation table where they respond to individuals that are in crisis, try to help them, whether it's mental health or just economic or homelessness crisis, to help them find the next step. So anyway, I was really interested in hearing if there was anything I could take back to the commission, or if you guys wanted to come visit us. We have our next meeting there in City Hall in the large conference room next Tuesday evening, starting at I believe 6 p.m. So.
Thanks very much for that. I wonder if you'd be interested in attending one of our meetings. We could place you on the agenda, give you a slot of time to make a presentation, have some discussion. I think that would be really helpful and really interesting.
You know, I thought about this so much, and yes, the answer is yes, very much so. And I was also thinking, though, for example, one of the things that the police have been doing for a while that almost nobody knows about is this training called ICAT training. And ICAT training, the ICAT kind of system is for police response to a person experiencing a mental health crisis, where they're actually in crisis, where they might be a danger to themselves or others, but they don't have a firearm, but they might have like an edged weapon, or they might have no weapon. Okay, so it's a targeted way of, instead of responding with full force to a situation like that, it's a much more gentle, thoughtful, we stop, we think before we take our next step. And I've done a lot of research into ICAT, and it's something that I think that the community should know about. There was a newspaper article maybe 10 years ago when they were first kind of developing this whole thing, but almost nobody knows that this is a system that they use, and it's effective. So I definitely also maybe like to bring a police officer along with me, like one of the training officers that trains in this, so that they could maybe also do a presentation if this is something you'd be interested in.
That would be great. So we'll be in touch with you.
You know where I live.
And we'll make it happen.
Is there anyone else in the stack who wants to speak for public forum?
I was just gonna do a small comment too. First of all, Mary, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing and the work that that commission is doing. There is only one meeting left in the student government session, so this might be something for when we come back in the fall. But I think you and a police officer would be an amazing person to have on our public forum as well, to get some information out to students about, these changes in the police force, and we'd love to have you.
That would be really great. And maybe if you could, like Amy just lives like right by me, and so we're hooked up. So if you can give your contact information to her, or she'll give you mine, and then you can reach out to me. Okay.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, thanks again, Mary. We'll keep you busy.
Is there other public forum? We have 2 minutes left in the, I think, in the public forum. I have something I can share if there's nothing else. Okay, so something that had come up in a previous meeting was talking about participatory budgeting. So I just wanted to share, I did a little dive into options around participatory budgeting. So I thought it would be like, why not share it with folks in case that brings up any ideas. So a couple ways that seeing other municipalities, like how they engage residents in the budgeting process. I've sort of seen three things. Maybe there's more, but this was a quick dive. One, making the budget just more transparent by putting it like in a really nice online format. So the LA financial controller, they have an interesting website for that. That's not like participatory, but at least does the first step of like making it more transparent for people to understand what the budget actually is. Second option I've seen municipalities do was they use like a software where they like put all the budget for the entire city in there, and then they'll put like targeted questions like, would you rather we do this or we do that? And so it's not like fully participatory, but it is like a way to weigh in and get feedback. And there's a number of like cities that have been experimenting with that, like Hartford, Connecticut, and whatnot. A third option, which I think is what people mean when they refer to participatory budgeting, is you basically hand over an entire slice of the budget to residents. So like two examples would be in New York City, they had like $3.9 million that the voters completely controlled. And it was a multi-month process where they came up with ways that they could use that money, and then they got to vote on it, and all residents 11 years and older got to vote. And then they did this whole voting process and distributed the funds. They also did a similar thing in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and that was about a little over $1 million. They had like 10,000 people voted, and again, it was 12 years old and older who got to vote. So anyways, a couple different options just to dream about as we go into budgeting season soon, I think, right? Yeah.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Okay, so I think we'll move on to the updates from Merrick. Do you care to? Here.
Thank you. Hi, folks. Ward 8 City Councilor Merrick Broderick. So I have I guess a couple updates. Applications for boards and commissions are live and taking place. There's a lot of vacancies. I could not list them all off the top of my head. But I think it would be great if Ward 8 had more representation on our boards and commissions. You can find the applications on the city website and the vacancies to find. There's a lot of different choices, especially if you have expertise in one of the fields that they cover. I think that would be great for folks to apply to. Again, the application's on the city website. The deadline for your application is May 20th at 4:30 p.m. And then if you have questions on that, you can contact Lori Olberg or myself. On budget, as was just said, budget season is upon us. Sessions for the budget that are public and do have public forums that you can comment on. Each budget session is going to tackle a couple of departments at a time. Those sessions will be April 29th, 5:30, April 30th, 6 p.m., May 4th, 5:30 p.m., May 7th, 5:30 p.m. in this room or online, of course. And then on May 20th, I have a meeting with the University of Vermont with Councilor Schachter and Councilor Newbeezer from Ward 1 regarding negotiations kind of generally. So probably assuming that's going to include things like the MOU, the housing MOU, things like fee for service and pilot payment in lieu of taxes. So if folks in the community have thoughts and questions that they want me to bring to a meeting like this, I think it's a great opportunity to get more information on how that's going and push for what we think is best for Ward 8. So feel free to reach out to me for thoughts on that. I think that's all I have off the top of my head in my notes.
Thanks, Merrick.
Specifically for the MOU, what are both you and Councilman Newbeezer, thank you. What is your goal with going in when talking about the MOU in this discussion?
Yeah, I think it's just it's clear that it's obvious that we as a city and a state and country are in a housing crisis. And being a college town, the University of Vermont plays a significant role in our housing stock. And I think what I'm looking for is information on what are UVM's short and long-term plans for constructing new housing, especially new housing within Burlington? What are the details regarding that? And then it's all of it's kind of connected to me. So not just like what are they asking from us in terms of what do we need to do to allow them to build more student housing? What type of housing is that going to be? Ideally, I would like to see it be for upperclassmen, graduate students, staff and faculty. But I don't know. We'll hear more about that hopefully. And then again, like I said, it's all connected in regards to negotiations. I think we as a city should be asking for more payment in lieu of taxes and fees for service. Because UVM is we do not collect local taxes from the University of Vermont. And just as UVM offers a lot to the city. The city offers a ton to UVM as well. So I think just ensuring that they are paying into the pot so that we can provide for residents, including students. I think that's essential.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Marek? Is Ally, I'm not sure.
No.
Okay,
Yeah. Maybe this is answered with the budgeting work that's being done, I guess, in the coming months. But I know it was like, oh, budget deficit, oh, we fix it, oh, budget deficit. Is that current budget deficit resolved, or is that just all being resolved in these now new budget meetings? I know it's a silly question, it's just my own ignorance being cured here.
Yeah, well, I can't tell you for certain that any sort of budget gap has been resolved. That's what these meetings are for. The mayor's office is going to show the budget that it will take to resolve the budget gap. And if anything sticks out to us and to the community that, like, yes, it does that, but I really think we should see more here. We as counselors have that opportunity to provide that sort of feedback. And once we have all the numbers in front of us, we would be able to provide constructive feedback that's not just saying, no, you have to put, no, Madam Mayor, you have to put more money into this, but like we're trying to break even here. And it will inform me that if I want more money to be in a certain program or a certain department, what would be my suggestion onto what would need to be taken away?
Thank you.
I guess I'll say it publicly for the record, though I know I've made the request privately. I know there's probably a lot of things to talk about in the meeting, but also I feel like we should be able to get a space on campus for free to hold our meetings or somewhere close to campus. And that should just be in the MOU. If so many of our residents are students, it shouldn't be that hard. Yeah.
I disagree with that. I feel that we're a neighborhood planning assembly, and we're made up of residents who are not students. And the students who are members are members of the city and not members of the university. I mean, they're both, but this is a city organization. And I feel that it should be on at a city location.
Sure.
Something I will say is, at least in the conversations I've had with Amy, the locations discussed are pretty central towards both students and people living in the general community. So I think finding a space that can accommodate both, just because this ward is really significantly student heavy, I think is a good compromise that we should definitely search out.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm glad you raised the point, because this is a subject for discussion and very careful consideration. We don't tend to attract a lot of attendees at our meeting in this location. And well, that's an issue, so we're trying to address that in some way this year.
I mean, you could always, I don't know if this is an option, but you could always join Ward 1. I was on the original Ward 8 NPA steering committee, and we decided to merge with Ward 1, and we had our meetings up at the hospital. Ward 1 has their meetings now.
The Quaker House.
Yeah,
The Quaker House, the Friends Meeting House.
Prospect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I think it did help.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
The issue there, I think, was what I gather is that Ward 8 was a minority voice in that larger organization. And most of the initiatives, the priorities were articulated through the Ward 1 group and Ward 8 was not as well represented there. Is that your experience?
Yes, because I know the people who were on NPA steering committee at that time, and that was their concern, but I think if we have very proactive Ward 8 steering committee members, that is not necessarily going to happen.
Well, we've discussed that
Yeah.
actually, as an option for,
Yeah.
forward.
I think we're going just like in a discovery time period of like, what are all the options? I think the thing we just been sort of running into is even if we wanted to do some things on the closer to campus and do a mix of things, as students point out to me, like this actually isn't in Ward 8 where we're meeting right now. And it's kind of hard for them to get to. So anyways, even if we want to do a mix of things, it's just so hard to get space. So, which I'm like, this is bananas. It shouldn't be that hard. So that's my request. Has opened the option for us.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
want to draw attention to the fact that even though this is called the student board,
Yeah.
there are a lot of non-students who live in Ward 8. And one of the goals of the last redistricting was actually to make it more of a balanced board, because participation was an issue.
So thanks for sharing the history there. Yes, that's helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Second things?
Yeah. We have about 4 minutes and then we were going to do community solutions.
This will only take 1 minute. So regarding the Ward 1 and Ward 8 getting back together again, I think if you look at those meetings, there's not a lot of empty seats. So it's already an overcrowded room with very poor lighting, no tables. It's kind of a problem having them there, but it's a very difficult task to find a place to hold a meeting for either Ward 1 or Ward 8. So that's been the problem all these years, is finding an adequate space to conduct those meetings. So I think you'll find that Ward 1 will probably be accepting of Ward 8 cautiously, but they're going to cross their fingers probably to see if there's enough seats in that room to actually conduct their general business. Okay, and I'm Charlie, Ward 2. So the other thing I wanted to mention was that if you're talking about people from Ward 8 getting on boards and commissions in Burlington, like the Parks Commission, the Taxi Board, the Cemetery Commission, the Development Review Board. So for years, I've tried to get City Hall to get an intern or someone who will basically take all the people on boards and commissions and put it on a piece of paper and say what ward they live in. Now, some of those do have an address, but most of them do not. And so the reason I'm saying this is because very, very, very few people from Ward 8 are on any boards or commissions in the city of Burlington. Okay, they're on the city council and they can usually manage to find someone to get on the school board. But after that, it's very, very difficult. So my advice is anybody who has any interest at all in being on a board or commission in Burlington, if you live in Ward 8 or Ward 3, frankly, what you should do in your application is write in big, bold letters, I'm a resident of Ward 8, and I expect, all things being considered, if 5 people are applying for this job and 2 are from the old North End and 2 are from the new North End, I'm thinking that people from Ward 8 and Ward 3 should get preferential treatment to get on boards and commissions because so few people in the city come from Ward 8, for instance. So I've been after the mayor's office for years to try to get them to basically take all the names of all the people on boards and commissions so that when people on the city council are making a decision on who to nominate or who to put on that board, that they say, oh, here's a Ward 8. That's the person who should get extra consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so
Mary Heather.
Can I just comment to that? I have to say, so I'm like in the boomer generation. And but what I find is that the Gen Z, the Gen X, Gen Z generations are there's I'm envious. And I think a lot of us in the boomer generation are envious because in a lot of ways, Gen X, Gen Z, they're living what we dream to live as boomers. And so I would just say that I would be so excited if we had, students and even like upperclassmen or, graduate students or freshmen or sophomores, whoever students get engaged with the city boards and councils, I think it would be just such a tremendous thing because it adds that flavor that otherwise we don't have. So.
Okay, thank you, Mary. We'll move on to our invited speakers. Thank you for being here.
Stay here, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, I'm Gail Champnoy from the University of Vermont Office of Student and Community Relations.
And I'm Cameron Lachek from the UVM Student Government Association.
And thank you to Tom and to Amy for inviting us to come to talk about the UVM Community Coalition. So I'll give a little bit of the past history of the group. And then Cam has been my co-chair for this year. Wonderful, incredible relationship between the Student Government Association and our office and the coalition. And then please chime in if either of you, because you've been to several meetings, want to talk about your experience as well. So we were started in 1992, 1994. And by Colin Moffett, who was then president of the Student Government Association. And the exciting thing about that was that when Colin was most interested in when the noise violation ticket went up, students were really upset, and he was going to try to talk to the city about lowering the price. And I just gave him a list of people and said, would you be willing to go out and talk to people? So he did a police ride around. He went and talked to families. He talked to students. And when he came back, he said it was a lot more complicated than he thought and a lot more impact than he was aware of. So he thought, let's not legislate all of our relationships. How about if we also have the community coalition? And so the whole idea from the beginning, according to Colin and the SGA at the time, was let's get neighbors, neighborhood organizations, city departments, Champlain College, and as many students as we could and residents in the room and have these conversations. It wasn't until a number of years later in the 2000s that one of the SGA senators, Scott McCarty, had asked to put in the SGA Constitution that the co-chairs would always be someone from my office and someone from SGA. That really gave it sustainability over time and continuity. So we've done a lot of different projects over the years. That group helped with creating our off-campus living guide, which is a really comprehensive guide for students, everything between wellness, landlord-tenant, what are the alcohol laws, what are the noise laws, what does it mean to be in community, what do I do when I'm in a conflict? So that booklet is now, the 9th edition is coming out. And that was at the time Lieutenant Jennifer Morrison, who worked at the Burlington Police Department, and myself and some from Champlain College helped write that and put that together. We also came together to do a street strategy. So we kind of looked at what is our vision for our neighborhoods, and then we kept going. What are the barriers? What are things that are working? What do we see at the end of the day is going to turn around neighborhoods to be healthier, safer, and more vibrant? And so we adopted the Isham Street neighborhood as a project. And when Burlington Police Department have data around quality of life, they showed the significant decrease in noise, vandalism, and burglaries because of the efforts on that street. And also we saw a lot of positive behaviors. When people, we do have a Isham Street gardening and other optimistic doings that was started by Brian Chena and Phil Hammerslow. And that group would notice that when somebody rolled one of our rocks in the garden onto the road, somebody else other than a neighborhood, somebody in that neighborhood organization would roll it back up. When somebody ripped the sign, somebody would go and tape it. Then we noticed that students were staying for 2 years instead of 1. And we have videos of 2 of the students talking about how much it meant to them to feel like they were part of this neighborhood. We're growing vegetables. Landlords have donated land for a community garden. We have several green belt gardens. We're doing a big event with a fraternity this week to replant and take the planter boxes that have been damaged and repair them. So if you think of food insecurity, we're having a lot of ability there's raspberries, tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce, and students who've never even seen how to grow a cucumber are, it's also a learning. And to be as self-sustaining as possible is vital for all of us. They also, the strategy of Phil and Brian, when they started it, was gardening is relationship building. And so it was very powerful to see that people who didn't know one another or people who were in friction with each other started gardening together, and we noticed a change in some of the relationships on the street. Our office does a restorative approach, so we do things with not 2 or 4 people. So I know when your neighborhood came forward and wanted that second site for a spring move out project, what we do is say, let's try to make that happen. And I'm very grateful that we were able to do that. Other neighborhoods like Buell Street wanted a community garden, and another landlord donated land for that. So over the years, the coalition has a landlord tenant committee. It had a restorative practices in neighborhoods committee, and it had what was this? A public community safety committee. The community safety committee looked at all the ways in which the city and all the entities in it, including the university, come together around community safety. So the premise is all our efforts to develop community, to be connected, to care about one another are very vital to a community safety plan. So we have what you can do as an individual, what you do as a neighborhood organization, what you do as a university, what you do as a city. And our goal is to be able to just take all that information, boil it down, and be able to share that in the neighborhoods. One of the real strategies is go where people are. So we give out neighborhood grants as an office, and the only requirement is that a student and a non-student help carry it out and benefit from it. And I think that's fundamentally changed a lot of the way people feel about their lives in a neighborhood. But as you know, there's a lot of struggles that are going on. People reaching out to each other, trying to say, let's do whatever under our ability to do together, because that's the way that they feel like they can get through each day with everything that's going on. And I'm very excited about the role that the Student Government Association has played since the beginning. And we get students to go to these meetings, and we get them because they're relevant to them, because they care, and because we establish long-term relationships, because we accountable to each other. If we say we're going to do something, we do it. I think the coalition has integrity that way, that and neighbors, like the Old East End Neighborhood Coalition is a fairly new group. We've helped fund their Winterlude events every year. We they did a historic walking tour. They did a mural with an artist. So I'm also learning every day, like what other people are coming up with ideas and actions that have really changed some of these neighborhoods. We would like to grow that very much so. We're an office of 3 people. And we have not a very big budget, but the neighborhood grants, you don't sometimes need much. And I'm hoping we can follow through with South Williams when they want a block party in the fall. And we continue to fund the Buell Street and the Loomis Street Spring Move Out project. And landlords, what's important will be my last point is invitation. And we found a lot of landlords it helps them because properties look better. And they're excited about the fact that the neighborhood looks better than it had for many years. The Burlington Rehab Center is very involved, and the people who are residents there look out the window and tell me we see flowers. We see it's just different for them to see that instead of trash and needles on the street, which was what we started with. And we start small because we've been on Isham Street for many years, but it's like if you could take small steps every year, you could sort of build into that. And then
Yeah. So like Gail said, I co-chair the community coalition with her. And first I want to say, Gail, you've also been an amazing co-chair. And I think you have genuinely made my junior year, and I really appreciate that. I'm going to talk about the coalition from the perspective of a student for a second. I think before I joined SGA, there was the kind of sense that I got that the university is one thing and Burlington is another. But once I joined SGA and specifically was put on Colca as a senator, I learned through community coalition that around like 2 things. That one, a lot of the problems students are facing are problems that are also being faced by Burlington residents. And 2, I learned how important it is that the university and Burlington community have a good relationship. So when I came to Community Coalition for the first time, I was genuinely amazed by the group of people that have come together to help help alleviate the problems of both Burlington residents and students, problems that we both share. And that has really shown me the importance of the coalition. And over the course of this year, we have made some truly amazing steps to incorporate more people into the coalition, such as we had invited the Burlington police chief and the UVM police chief to a meeting. We had Mayor Mulvaney Stanek at one of our meetings recently alongside Dr. Trump. So I really see the coalition as the forefront of bringing the relationship between UVM and Burlington closer together.
Yeah, I thank you very much. I think the community coalition is really well situated and with their ongoing work, the history of work they've done, to work very productively with the MPAs, not just Ward 8 MPA, but I think all of the wards. And I've noticed that at the meetings I've been to, there've been representation from Ward 1 for sure. Chris Hasley in Ward 3 often zooms in to the meetings. I don't know that I've seen other wards represented, but I think it would be great to somehow promote participation from other ward steering committees or just neighbors. I want to comment a little bit briefly about the meeting where the mayor and the president of the university participated. It was a very productive meeting and a really interesting dialogue, because it's very clear that those two individuals in very important influential positions are on the same page and are working closely with one another to facilitate, as Cam says, this university city interaction, integration, an articulation of common purpose and initiatives and objectives. And so I think we're in a moment, a really hopeful time. President Trump appears to me, from what I've heard and seen, to be a person with a real community awareness and a real interest in facilitating some positive change and also developing this relationship in a way that's sort of practical, visionary, combined. And I really like that. And I thank both of you for making that happen. The meeting with the police was supposed to have been between the university, first captain and the police chief of the city, and that for various reasons. And I think there was some proximity to a recent event that made it impossible for Chief Burke to attend. But again, I think my message would be to find ways to facilitate greater involvement from all the MPAs in this really fundamentally important organization that you've developed over the years. Did you want to add something, Amy?
I was just gonna say, I actually wasn't aware of this body. Probably, we moved to South Williams not that long ago. But being in the room, it's like a really interesting community that you've brought together, because I know different folks and I've been in other meetings with them, but having all of those people in the same room together is very fascinating and unique, and I think really special. So I've really enjoyed my time, especially getting to be with students and hearing what students are thinking, and all of that has been really, really special and cool stuff. Thank you.
We have people from Burlington Electric Department, from Fair Housing, and we have the SGA president who's just reelected for the second time, and it's historical because we haven't had a woman, as she said, get the presidency of the SGA 2 times in a row. So we're very excited for her. And the university has a new green, gold, and bold plan, strategic plan, and the president, Dr. Trump, is very much wanting us to think boldly. And so that's another interesting thing. Like, is there a charge for the coalition to put something forth that's their bold idea? And it could be something that has to do with what you mentioned about more interaction with MPAs. I mean, it could be opened up to, it might have opened up something for us because it was very genuine to hear both the leaders of this, two important leaders in the community already have met many times and have already established a relationship, but they also established a relationship of supporting one another. And that came through pretty loud and clear, which I think it's just, as you mentioned, a new era and a new time and a new opportunity. So we're going to try to do our best as the coalition and MPAs to see where we fit in this new picture. Yeah.
And I know, irregardless of like who's in the room right now, people may watch this later. So would you mind just talking a little bit more about the neighborhood grants? And like what have examples of, I know you talked about a few of them in the past, but just that anybody who's listening to this, like, I don't know what the bounds are, but dream and to reach out to Gail and talk to your neighbors and maybe there's something there. Yeah, if you want to just talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, so during the fall, a group of students who lived on Loomis Street came to us and asked if we could help fund a block party for Loomis Street. So what I think is very important is not only do we give money, but we give people power. We provide some volunteers. We dropped off tables, we dropped off games, we dropped off, and we gave them funding for pizza. So that's one example. And other recent examples, some other neighborhoods had seen what happened on Isham Street and they wanted to do the same on their street. So we moved on to Hickok and they have planter boxes now. And we offer them like, do they want vegetables? Do they want flowers? I've been to Gardener Supply with many neighbors, picking out stuff and bringing it back and shoveling compost. And so I think it's successful because sometimes one person is all excited and thinks all their neighbors are, and then they get the funding and, nobody's coming out. We invite everybody. There's a flyer in everybody's door, like for this event coming up with the fraternity to repair boxes and do a street cleanup. Everybody gets invited, and students will tell us, "Oh, I can't make it. I'm working, but thanks a lot." So they kind of get used to the fact that we're on the street. Isham Street probably 4 times a year. We do a pumpkin contest. We do a free snow shovel. And then we do all these gardening days and street cleanups. But that wouldn't work without Brian Chena and his energy. Phil has since moved to the new North End. So it's very important that if someone's excited and has sort of relationships built up in the neighborhood, they just have to ask our office. And some of the grants are, $50. Some of them are up to $1,000. We can't give out many a year, but for the Winterlude, that's a commitment that we'll probably make every year. They've grown their student participation. So that's Chase Street going down to Winooski. And they have a lot of students that live in the area. And it's like we would say to you, what are your needs and what do you think is best that would meet them? And there's no paperwork. It's just a conversation. And we feel like people also look at grants, like AARP has given us grants. There's a New England Seeds program that's fabulous. And they like to fund projects that are people who are doing the work. And they're wonderful. There's not a lot of red tape, not a lot of overhead and administratively. So we've gotten 2 grants from them for the work that we're doing in the neighborhoods. So that's another thing you can do with the coalition is, does anybody have an idea? I know that Local Motion now has grants, and that's pretty exciting that I see some other efforts. And the other thing too is to advocate for the city. The city used to have a whole department for neighborhoods and try to rebuilding some of that infrastructure because we were very active with that part of CEDO, the Community and Economic Development Office at the time, and we did a lot of things together with them. They had their own neighborhood grant program, so I was on a committee for looking through grants for a number of years. So how do we also advocate for those? I advocate at UVM for more resources to move into more neighborhoods, and the coalition can continue to advocate for more neighborhood support. Does that answer your question? Okay.
I don't know if other people have follow-up questions about that or something else.
I know Ann and I have worked together for many years, and it's been a long, hall.
It's really little.
Yes, to make change. Yeah. And I really have appreciated partnerships like we had with Ann and her community. Appreciated, starting out with the idea that we bring something to the table. I believe in active hope. And I think that's been a big part of why there's energy in the coalition. I mean, we have not stopped meeting through COVID. We had virtual meetings. We've had like 20 to 25 people at every meeting, but they come energized. It's a Friday afternoon and they're not even leaving at the end. They're like still chatting and eating food and, and I think it's because you work really hard about your environment and how people feel welcome. People feel they can bring their whole self. And when we go through tough stuff, we just say, let's go off the agenda. It looks like people seem stressed about something. And we've done that a number of times. And our student leaders have been phenomenal because they facilitate all the meetings. And they learned how to do like a moment of silence for when we've had loss and when we had things happen nationally and internationally, talking to one another. And I feel that's the strength of the group, is that we see each other as people, not opinions and positions, but we really have got to know one another. And I think that has a lot to do with the restorative way that meetings are run. Cam and I come up with a question for every go around and, you start to learn about one another. And then, if you care about someone, you're accountable to them as well, because nobody wants to let somebody else down that they have a really good relationship with.
Also, just for people who might be listening later, although I imagine maybe a lot of people in this room know about this, but the spring move out. So can you just speak a little bit more to that? It's basically like if you were a resident, you can show up and there's stuff that you can help bring home,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, so students will come into either Buell Street or Loomis Street, and we have stations for furniture, books, clothing, food, and household items. And they come in and the staff and all the volunteers put the items where they need to be if they're deemed to be in good shape. If they're not deemed to be in good shape, they go over to the Casella trash, and for a subsidized fee, they'll take your trash from you. We also have mattress recycling. It's the happiest thing I've ever had in my life. During COVID, I must have put tons of mattresses into the dumpster because we had no option then. And I never wanted to cart another mattress into a dumpster again, but they come on site and for a fee, the students will give them their mattress and pay them the fee. And then it's wonderful to see them at the intervale with all the recycling. People have come who have no, they can't afford to furnish their homes. They don't have plates. There's clothing, and so it's a real opportunity for people in need. So we let all of the local nonprofits know that we're doing this, and then we have anyone who wants to come and pick up stuff can take it home. And I think the sustainability of it to recycle goods is really a big part of it. And students feel great about it. They feel like they're leaving the city responsibly. And when I started, it used to be students leave Burlington trashed, and all of us with long memories know what it used to look like. And now they're changing to students turn trash to treasure. So I think we've come a long way. And I can't say enough about permitting inspections and Bill Ward and his team. I mean, it's not easy doing these two events. It's a incredible job, and you need a day off after all the lifting and dragging and interpersonal stuff that might happen when two people want the same couch. But overall, we've done our best to make it feel like it's a place of care and try to eliminate any issues. So now people could take just 3 items. And we used to have people would take like 10 and then they decide at the end of the event which ones they wanted, and we'd end up with too much that had to go into the waste stream. So over time, gotten really, really much better at management. So that's sort of, and I think it's like share the word out, but not on Front Porch Forum or something like that, only because you can't, if you have too many people, it's going to be really, really hard to manage the event. So we sort of do a soft, you know, about the event happening. But there are same people come every year too.
We have a question, Mary, on.
Yes, and I have to say thank you so much for what you do. It sounds so great. I was wondering if you knew, Sweetwater's used to have like a coat giveaway, so people would bring like their old coats. They'd all be collected up, and then right around, I think like the Thanksgiving Day or right around the Thanksgiving holiday, people without coats. So people here from other countries or other areas of this country where they don't experience the snow the way that we do, can just go and get a free coat. And I remember so clearly, and I was going with some people in to have our Thanksgiving dinner there at Sweetwater's, which I used to do, have like a community dinner. But there was a woman who was speaking a language that was not English, and she was there with her family, but she was trying on a coat, and she just started crying. The coat looked so beautiful on her, and she just actually started crying, and it touched me so much. And so when they shut down Sweetwater's, I felt so bad about it because I thought that was such a great program, and it sounds almost like the sort of program that you do. It's like one small thing that can make a big impact. And I was wondering, if you would maybe consider doing something like that, or if you know who else is doing that. I just think that kind of a program also falls within your lane.
I know that New Farms and New Americans, we did a number of years ago, a clothing event with them. I think it's sometimes you can reach out to a nonprofit and ask them what would be helpful to you, and that relationship. I think they reaching out. I reached out to them and just said, "Is there a project that you have that we might work together on?" I know that the students are now starting their thrift store. Do you want?
Yeah, we did last semester pass we have club bills on SJ, not important, but we approved a club called UVM Thrift, which is now is having like a lot of events where they'll open up a room in the Davis Center. And I think I saw a sign out front. It said $2, any article of clothing. So yeah, they are taking a lot of clothing donations. I'm sure that they're going to be taking a few things from students when they move out as well. And just kind of putting it back into the stream instead of letting it go to waste.
And I know there's a free box on College Street in front of one of the secondhand stores.
Yeah.
That oh, is it?
I think it's Better Street Jeans, right?
It's
Yeah, I think it is.
Yes.
because I walked twice past there today, and there was a lot of activity by there. So Mary, thank you for your comments and also for your care for people in need, and how we might work more with the local nonprofits right now. I know that we just did a project with the immigration department. They needed baby clothes and blankets, and so we, as a coalition, we try to maybe twice a year do something collectively. And then for Outright Vermont, we knew with everything going on and how threatened a lot of the people that go there and the people that support them felt. So we did we potted plants and we wrote messages on the pots and delivered them to them. And we do a lot of random acts of kindness around campus as well. So.
Hey, thank you so much. That was really an inspiring presentation from you both. Thanks so much.
Thank you both for coming to the coalition.
Yes, thank you.
I think we've gone through our agenda. Is there anything else that before closing that anyone has for us? Okay, with that, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay, thank you all.
All in favor?